Are you ready to get provoked? You're listening to Can I Live, a show created to excite, ignite, and expose. Let's tune in with your host, R.W. Jones. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to the Can I Live podcast. We're not sure we want to call it the Godcast because we feel like we are just giving you the truth here, and the truth hurts. And so tonight, for all of you guys know, we're talking about child support. Get your hands out my pocket. It's a animated stage play we have coming out this summer, God willing, and it comes from the work from a book that I wrote, Get Your Hands Out My Pocket, The Hands-On Guide to Avoiding the Child Support System. In our efforts to move a million moms off the welfare system, we can't move moms off welfare unless we deal with the fathers. Can't do it. And so tonight we're talking about the relationship. And here's what I know. First, let me do some shout outs. Make sure you guys like the page. We need 100 subscribers. Why is it so hard to get 100 subscribers? If I was showing some shaking ass booties on here, I'm pretty sure we have 1,000 subscribers. Like, cut it out already. Subscribe. Send to your friends to subscribe. It's good stuff. And shout out to the Black Box out in New York. They made me a few masks with the Can I Live logos on it. It even actually smells good. So if you have like halitosis or anything, it can actually help you from yourself. So it has like this pre-scented fabric softener stuff in it. It smells really good. I can breathe in it. But now they're telling you to double up because of the 2 strands. Oh my God. What happens if there's 3? You might as well wear an oxygen mask because I can't even breathe with the one. But welcome, welcome, welcome. Make sure you share us. Thank you to my 2 co-hosts, my superstars, Anthony James from Minivision Exposed and Glenn Warren from Fathers Forever. How y'all doing tonight?
I'm good. Right.
So remember I told y'all in the beginning, I might have to unveil some of myself. And I went, Anthony, I promise you, I was in one of your wife's classes this weekend. And I thought I was delivered from cursing. I was like, surely I don't curse no more. Surely. It was like foreign to me. I had one of my good friends. She was like, yeah, you always use the F word. I was like, me use the F words? I was like, seriously? I don't think so. She was like, girl, you always use the F word. I was like, that just sounds so harsh. Like I thought I was delivered. You hear me? And then I got a piece of mail. I got a piece of mail in the mail. And I promise you that cousin spirit came back on me like you wouldn't believe. So we started just because of this mail, we are going to build in a hall of shame. Call it the Bobo Ski Wattentotten. Call it the whatever you want to call it. I'm gonna call it the Wattentotten. I got this little sound effect I'm working on. I can't even do it. It's just so, it's like, this is why you get into child support. I know why now. So one of my fathers, y'all know I got like 3. I told him, his son was living with him. Remember I told you I took him out of the child support system, and his son no longer lives with him. He's now living with my sister in Chicago, and we have to foot that bill. It's not even a big bill, y'all. It's like $300. And he said, okay, fine. I'll pay half. I said, well, thank you, black man, for paying $150 for your son to live somewhere else. He's not 18 yet. So I said, can you just cash at me? Just send me the 150. He never did. So then I'm like, hey, end of the month comes. I'm like, can you send me the 150? Nothing. Don't even respond to my text. So then I get a letter in the mail, right? Letter in the mail. And I'm like, oh, okay. He done sent me a check. He done sent me some money. I'm like, okay, all right. And this fool, he sent me a hospital bill, because my son went to the emergency room when he was down there. So he just sent me the bill. And I looked at it. He didn't. Now he has his son insurance information, so he could have very well just called the number and gave him the insurance information and just squashed it. But he took the time and put 2 stamps on this, and he just put it in the mail and he sent it. I said, "This." I just call him all mother effers, and I was like, "You can't pay 150. You can't answer a text. You can't answer nothing." But you can send this mail for your hospital bill, your son's hospital bill to me. He ain't preface it. He just here like this yours. You don't even know how much that infuriated me. Now I thought, you know what? Okay, you don't want to pay $150 for the next, 4 or 5 months. I'll take you to court, and you will pay probably $3,000-4,000. But he's stupid like that because that's how I think he got a whole chapter in the book. And so we're going to charge him up to the Bobos, the Bozaks, the Wattentottens, the dumbasses. This is what you do to get your behind in child support. Now am I tripping? I'm gonna talk to y'all two right here. Is it justified? Am I in my emotions? Should he go to child support? Just because now his son will be 18 in April. 4 months, but 4 months of a nice paycheck because he works for a nice and he makes a nice piece of money. But I'm sure whatever the courts might give me from December to April, those 4 months will probably pay his room and board for the year, if not way more, maybe 2. Am I being petty.com, as Monette might say it? Talk to me, because I'm ready to call the child support bureau and take him back just because. Just because you stupid. Now, am I tripping?
Well, let me start off with this. Nah, I don't think you're tripping. I think y'all have an obligation. He has an obligation. Pretty much. I mean, he was paying child support at one time, right? You didn't have the problems with him off and on.
No, I took him to the court.
I mean,
to the court, but then he took his son, and so then I took him off of child support, rightfully so. He wasn't living with me anymore, and then now he's not even living with him. But so it's like, okay, if he's not living with you, you need to help. Somebody else is like, helping him, get his stuff together. He's trying to go into the Navy, so he's with my sister, who's like trying to prepare him for the Navy, but still, that doesn't, I got to pay that bill.
Right. So let me ask you. No, he didn't learn the poem yet. He didn't learn the poem. I mean, I don't wish. The poem is jail, lock up. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. Me personally, listen. Right is right, wrong is wrong. You know what I mean? You have a responsibility, and come on, you communicated with him. He said he would do it. He didn't do it. You know the next step. I mean, that's what the court system is for. Just like if you get, if somebody do harm to you and you have to go to the court of law, something has to happen. You know what I mean? He knows better. So at the end of the day, there's no other answer for that. I mean, I just hope he feels good when that bill comes.
Am I being petty in this relationship? Some women would be like, girl, please, it would not be worth my time of day. And this is the nuances, because most would be like, girl, he about to be 18 in 18 months. I wish I would even waste the time. But then some people, like the way I'm feeling, be like, yeah, it's worth that time. He's so stupid.
Well, what's the relationship that you have with him? What is that looking like?
There's no relationship.
You need the money as well. So whether relationship or not, you need that money, right?
It's not that I need it. It will help.
Yeah.
It will help. I think it will help. And plus, I mean, come on, now he was at your house and you weren't paying, and now he's not there because of some stuff that, you failed to do. And so now it's on me. I'm now footing the whole bill. I just feel like, come on, dude.
No. Well, of course. I mean, you shouldn't fit the bill at all, to be honest with you. He's in his care. And not only that, if y'all came into an agreement, which y'all probably did not, but at the end of the day, that's his responsibility.
Was the agreement. That's another thing. The agreement was you pay half. Okay, I'll pay the half. I could do that. He make the money. He got the money. He
Right.
could do 150 a
Right.
month. I mean, you being like an
Well,
a-hole, and I think it's that a-hole that fuels the decision. So I mean, I'm just caught. I knew I was gonna get caught in this one way or another. I wasn't gonna get out of this whole series without unveiling my own
right.
self. What'd you say, Glenn? What you
Well, let
think?
me pass the rock to yeah, let me pass the rock to Mr. Glenn Warren.
Well, that's why we need the child support system.
Mm.
That's what that makes the child support system important because of situations like this, where you can't, you do agree on something, somebody don't follow up for whatever reason. You still mad with him. In his mind, I don't know why he's probably thinking that bill that he's paid for $1,000 is enough.
He
You
didn't
know,
pay it. That's what I'm saying. He didn't. It's not like he paid it. It's due.
yeah, it's due. Well, I've got to pay
So he
whatever
want
he
me to
thought.
pay it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know what he's thinking, but
Me neither.
this is why we have to have the child support system in place because it's, for you it's 4 months. Suppose that would be 5 years and the kid was 13. I
I mean, he would
mean,
have went to court yesterday.
exactly. But the point is, that's why we have to have a system. That's why the system is there.
But here I am, writing a book, being able to teach men how to avoid court, and here I am, have taken him out of court, about to put him back in court.
Exactly.
I
Because
feel I don't
there
really
is
feel
there
hypocritical.
is a need for the system. In situations like this, when the couples can't get along, that's the need for the system. Now we want the
Right.
system to fix a problem that it's not designed to fix.
You keep
It
saying
can't
that. I get
fix your problem or his. It's not designed to fix that. But what it is designed to fix, and when there's a situation like that where you guys can't come up with an agreement, the system steps in now and say this is what's going to happen. That's why it works. That's why you got to have it.
So it's the honoring of this of the word, honoring your word when you make it and say, and then when you can't communicate, hey, I'm not going to be able to make that payment because, but I'll double up next month. But being true with it,
Right.
having integrity.
Why? I mean, you would think that men and women, for that matter, would take their kids seriously and do what they're supposed to do. Probably the reason the whole system's in place because that's not going to happen. You guys are mad with each other. I mean, I went through the same thing. I went through divorce. I went the same thing. I had to do the same thing. I tried to work it out. It didn't work out. I had to go to the system. There is a purpose for the system, and that purpose is now because you guys are not going to agree on it for whatever reason. And you done what
Right.
what you decided to do. $300. Let's split this, which is it should happen. He, on the other hand, for whatever reason, decided he's not going to do that, even though he agreed to do it. And
Am
now
I
you got
being petty?
no,
So
you're
like,
not. No, you're not being petty. Now, in this case, it's probably going to take 4 months before it even get to the court
yeah,
system,
of course.
which is going to be over. Now, you could go back and try to recoup some of that money, but again, suppose that was he was 5 years down the road and the kid was 13. Yes, you're not being petty because
Now let me
y'all
ask you
agree.
this.
You're not being petty. When a woman put a man on child support because he's not completing his obligation, that's not being petty. That's making him responsible.
Now I believe that. I believe that, but I know that I would have never said, okay, you know what? I feel like it comes in a pettiness when he was petty and putting this sorry behind paper in
Right.
the mail to me, not a hello, how's he doing? And then
Right.
that disregard,
Right.
that disrespect,
Right.
but pay it, or I can't find his insurance card. Here, can you call them and send them the insurance stuff?
Right.
Something. But you and your dumb self just put this in the mail and send it, and now I'm fumed. And
Right.
so it's out of that emotion that I'm actually like, you going to mother effing court.
Yeah.
And the cursing, and I cursed. I cursed
Yeah.
him right slam out.
Yes. I mean,
And
and
my attorney said,
yeah.
I can't, don't say his name.
Yeah, and that's what usually happens. And again, that's why we can't get rid of the system because there's a million cases like this. There's millions of cases like this where the parents can't get along and the system had to step in and be the referee and say, this is what's going to happen. This is the payroll. This is what you got to pay a month. And if you don't pay it, then we're going to put you in jail.
I wrote this in the chapter. There's a chapter that's called The Relationship. And I told people, here's a scenario. And this was a real life story. And it's the same damn father. So, he's just like, geez.
Right.
Same father. But you know what? I mean, I can say all that is about him. But obviously, I was in a place where me and him in the beginning, let me tell you, I prayed to have children by this man because I thought he was a great father because of how he took care of his other children. And I can recall very clearly being, I don't even know if I can say this word on TV. This ain't even TV. It was like, I don't even want to say it. It starts with a DIC matized. I was 16 when
don't say it then.
Don't say it? Okay. I was 16. I was totally, probably what they call it when you sprung. He was like 12 years older than me. Old man, older. And so I knew he had issues, but I just had just as many issues. So that's another thing when you have these issues, hurting people, like you always say, Anthony. But I remember clearly he was paying me $50 a week for 2 kids on his own. I was like, I don't need the court. We good. He was paying $50 a week. It was $200 a month for 2 children. And he was making enough money. But I didn't go through the system because here I am trying to be benevolent, help the Black man out.
Right.
I said, listen, I want to finish graduate school. I'm in school on the weekend. Can you watch the kids on the weekend and you won't have to pay no child support?
Right.
It was either because I knew that the person that was coming in to watch my kids was charging me $500 a month. So I was like, I wouldn't have to pay that $500, and then you wouldn't even have to pay your $200. It'll be an even wash, and it was just a Saturday. It was a Friday evening, and then it was a Saturday. He said, he was like, no. He was like, because we getting a divorce now, and I want to get back into the dating scene, and I want to start dating again.
Right.
Wow.
I was like, oh, okay. That means you want to go to court. I was like, oh, okay. That means you want to go to court, dumbass. Excuse my language. Do you know I took this fool to court, and the judges made him pay like $800, maybe like $700. I don't know what it was, but he leaving the courtroom all chapped and just in dismay, like somebody snatched his soul. And I'm like, dude, you didn't even have to do that. So these are I don't know. I gotta be me. I want to say the
consequences.
The consequences, right? Because we got judges and stuff listening to the show. These are the consequences to just being in your feelings and dumb. And why men gotta? And is it men? Is it only men that be dumb like this? And I know women out there got a lot of stories. And next week we talking to all the women. We want to get all of their sides. Then we're gonna talk to the men. Because they're going to say we controlling and we manipulative and everything got to go our way.
Right.
As you can see, I'm kind of pissed off.
Well,
so, I know the relationship was great. Oh, well, I ain't going to say the relationship was great. Hold on. What I will say is everybody hated him and everybody thought I was crazy for being with him. But in the beginning, nonetheless, all I saw was this older man taking care of his kids from what I could see. And I wanted to have kids because I had 2 that from 2 fathers that rejected me. So here I am looking at this with these crazy lenses. And nonetheless, you get married and things don't work. I did get married to his crazy tail, but that was disastrous. I just don't know. I mean, what you got in your book over there, Glenn, when love is not enough, because that wasn't love at all. I don't think this is love. I don't think you could you don't love your child or you don't even love he don't love me. He ain't got to love me to respect me enough and respect that I'm the mother of your child and respect your child enough that you want the bill paid because he needed to go to the emergency room. Right. So what is that?
Well, one of the chapters I write in the book is called Unintended Consequences, where we make decisions because we married one another. and the consequences of our decisions, our kids are affected by it. I mean, I've sitting in the courtroom for the last 10 years, and I see that story that you just told a thousand times. I've seen this story over and over and over and over. And one of the reasons why I called the book When Love Is Not Enough is called both parents love their kids. There's no question about that. But that love for your kids is not enough to keep you from putting your kids in the middle of your fight. And that goes for both men and women. The women are just as guilty of this because when a man go out and start dating, then she won't put him on child support. She's working with him. He may be paying the child support okay, but as soon as he go out and get a girlfriend, all hell breaks loose now. And she went down to the child support court and she put him on child support. Now, on the other hand, when the man, when she finds a boyfriend, or he says, I'm not going to see little Johnny because you got me on child support.
Mm-hmm.
Take me off of child support, I'll come and see him. Well, the reason why you put him on child support is because he wouldn't pay. He's supposed to pay $100 or $200 a month, and he's not paying it. So you have no other reason to get your money than to put him on child support. And that's what happened. It is the anger, the frustration that the couples have for one another that is getting in their way of seeing. One of the stories I write, I talk about the blinders of indifference. You know what blinders are? So you got blinders. I'm from the country, so we had a horse, and he's in the field, but you don't want the horse to see to the left or right. You want him to see straight ahead. That's why it's called blinders.
Why do you have to put blinders on him?
Right. So the point is, because you don't want the horse to
stay focused.
If you know anything about country, you're trying to put a straight way of corn there. You don't want to have the horse looking to the right or to the left. You want him to look straight ahead. Mm. So you put blinders there to keep him from seeing when a truck comes by, he's going to get distracted. So when you get distracted, he turns. So you don't want that to happen. So you put the blinders on the horse to stop him from seeing. In life, we walk around with blinders on. And you can't see the other person's struggle because you got blinders. And what blinders does is stop you from seeing from what you have the ability to see. Blinders stop you from seeing for what you have the ability to see. So when we walk around on blinders, we have the ability to see the other parent's struggle, but we don't because we got on the blinders of jealousy, the blinders of frustration, the blinders of anger, the blinders of unforgiveness. You keep naming it. We got it on. And we walk around in life and we're trying. It's bad enough to see people argue, but when those people are trying to co-parent, it's almost next to impossible because they got these blinders on and they cannot see the other person's struggle. And that's what we want the court system to fix. And that's why we get bad with the court system. But the court system is not designed to fix your anger you have for one another. Only person can fix that is you and him.
Right. And you gotta want to fix it too.
You gotta want to fix it.
There's nothing inside of me that cares to fix anything with him because I'm a reasonable person, but I've come to the conclusion that he is just not a reasonable. And most of you guys know, for those that know me, know him, and y'all know that he is not.
Yeah, and most of the time, the person that you love the most is the person that you can hurt, that hurts you the most. That's why couples are really have struggle when they separate because you really love this person with all of your heart. I mean, at some point in time, you guys was in love.
No, I never loved him.
Okay, you have some feelings for one another. The point is, the person that you love the most is the person that can hurt you the most, and that hurt comes out in anger. It comes out in bitterness. It comes out in resentful, and it comes out in revenge. Mm. I'm going to get you back. So we're going to get one up on you. Right. You took me to court today, I'm going to get you back over here. And you go back and forward, back and forward. You win this one, she win that one. But she win, and he get mad, and he wants to win. So, and this kid is living this life
That's so petty to me.
It's petty. I'm telling you, it's
Petty
absolutely
But
petty.
it's
But
it's
that's the
happening
life
every day.
that's the life that we live. And how do
Right.
you fix that?
Yeah.
Each
Right.
person
People have to fix it.
have to sit down and say, listen, you know what? For the sake of our kids, one of the stories I write, and I talk about this. This lady, she said, I ask the guys all the time, do you cuss in front of your spouse or your kids about the mom, about the dad? And most of the time they say yes, they do. Or they cuss the mom out in front of the kids. The mom cussed them out in front of the kids, and they go back and forth. So she said, we had this thing called, everybody know what a gag order is, right?
Mm-hmm.
A gag order is when you can't say that you had a trial, you had a case, you won it, but the judge said you can't discuss nothing about this. It's called a gag order. You can't say anything. If you do, you're gonna lose that money that you just won. Well, she said her husband decided to put in their divorce decree a gag order, which means she couldn't say nothing negative about the child, about the mom in front of the child, and he couldn't say anything negative about her in front of the child. If that did, they could get sued. And I said, well, did you? She said, I cussed him out a lot, but I never cussed him out in front of my child.
They must have had money.
Well, it wasn't about the money. It's just that, when you start to threaten to sue people, you don't want to get sued, so you follow your agreement.
Only people with money get sued. Like if you broke, you be like, who give a shit? Who you sue? What? I ain't got nothing.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, the point is, suppose we put a gag order, just a mental gag order, in our divorce decree, in our separation, verbally say, you know what? I'm not going to say anything negative. I might not like you. I don't like you. But I'm not going to say anything to little Jimmy about you in the presence. And that's the verbal agreement that you guys need to have. Every couple needs to have, but guess what? That ain't happening.
That ain't happening.
But that would be.
I think we feel like it ain't going to help.
Well, if both of you guys are married with one another and you constantly going at each other's throat, you guys have to make a decision to say, hey, this has not been beneficial to our son or to our daughter. That's when you state first responsibility, and that's when it stops. Until then, it's not going to stop. Because he's going to be petty, she's going to be petty, they're going to go back and forth. And this thing, it don't end. And that's, one of the reasons I wrote the book is the guys are coming to class and we talking about all this stuff, but they trying to make some changes, but then they go back to her and she's mad and angry. And so I said, I need to write something for both the men and the women. So I sit down and put these 12 chapters that I got in this book are real life scenarios that happen in the courtroom. I probably could wrote 1,000 books like this, but I just took 12 chapters. These are real. And I had to change some of the, I didn't use the person's names. I never use their names, but some of the incidents, I had to change that because the father who read this book say, he's talking about me because it's real. These are real life stories that happens in the courtroom because fathers and moms don't get along and they fight and they put their kids in the middle of the fight. When I was coming up, my mom would take us, she would tell us to go, again, I'm from the country. I mean, New York, I know New Yorkers don't know about this, but she'll send us to the country to get a switch. And you get a switch. Now, there was an art to getting the switch.
Man.
You didn't get one too big, you didn't get one too little. Because my mama hit me a couple times and that switch broke the first time, I got to go back and get another one. So you get a switch that's not too big and not too small. Because I want my mama to get 2 or 3 good licks in, and then her arm is tired and she stopped. So she's satisfied and I minimize my pain. So the point is, but 2 things I always remember. Number 1, the switch always hurt. And number 2, the switch always broke. The point is, when you use little Jimmy to beat Big Jimmy, guess what? It's going to hurt Big Jimmy, but guess who's going to break?
Little Jimmy.
Little Jimmy. Little Jimmy becomes the switch that breaks every single time.
Right.
Until parents see that, they're going to constantly put their kids at the switch to beat the other parent. And little Jimmy and little Sue is the one that's going to hurt the most. Now, it's going to hurt father, yes. It's going to hurt the mom. But it's the kid that you say you love, it's going to break. And you see that breaking in their life when now they're rebelling in school. They become bullies themselves.
Right.
And they repeat that circle. They have no respect for authority. That child is breaking, but you started it. And your shenanigans, and your unforgiveness, and your bitterness, and you trying to get one on. You started this kid on a collision course now to maybe end up in the justice system where he have no respect for the judge, he have no respect for police officers, and he do something stupid, and he gets shot, and you want to blame the police officer. Yes, the police officer got some blame, but where did he learn that?
Right.
So listen, listen, when you talking like that, this is my little sound effect.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
But damn thing. I ain't got nothing to say.
Right. But it's because it's the truth, and that's the cold truth right there, and that's good. That the analogy that you brought to the table. Just to clear the record, New York. I'm from New York, but listen, my parents was born and raised in the South, so we know about the switches.
You know about the switches,
what I mean? We know about them switches.
I don't know.
But that's a good analogy. But Raquel, getting back to what you asked the question about, are you being petty? A little bit, being a little bit biased because you figure you got 4 months left. Now it's your decision. It's your decision to make whether you do it or not. The child has 4 months for the father to still pay child support, right?
Right.
So is it worth the agony, or are you just doing it just to get at him?
I would do it just to
if you can be honest. If you're doing it just
I would do it just to piss him off.
Right.
But it's also,
that's what we're talking about, So I mean, even if you do it.
But I shouldn't. I mean, I would do it to piss him off, but I knew it in myself, and I was a little angry that I was even ready to go that way because I thought I was delivered from that thing, whatever that was. But he pissed. Just the thought, I was like, and I texted him. I was like, I'm going to put you on blast on the podcast, dumbass. I was like, I didn't curse, but I wanted to go.
Because now look at it.
Huh?
Right, but look at it, Raquel. Look at this, right? What he just said. Look at what Glenn just said. Now, if you don't do it, okay, you don't do it. But if you do it, look at that switch, that little switch, the little one that's being broken. He's gonna see now, they've been feuding for a long time. They still up to this feud and stuff. Right. So when is it gonna come to the point where, you know what? If I'm all good, if I'm not struggling like that right now, and if I can alleviate that problem, because it's going to cause a problem between the kid. You said you tight with him. It ain't even the money that you really need for this guy.
No, it's not that I need it. So I would be doing it totally to piss him off. I know that, and I'm being transparent. I told you guys I would be, but I did notice that when Glenn said that thing spills over, so he's petty.com. He really, really is. And I guess he triggered me to that same type of behavior easily. And obviously, petty.co is still in me too, because I was willing to go there. Now, I didn't do it because I thought I would use this as a, filter. But I know that him and his son, the reason why he's not there right now is because they do that now to each other. And they have this totally disrespectful relationship. And that pettiness has now come on to my son, where now they do it. And I was like, so when you said that, I was like, wow, I see it. And so if I had to prove by example, if I had to be the bigger person or, and it's not worth my time. I can't even deal with it. I would just not do it. But I can't tell you that in the moment I wanted to. And if I had longer, if he had longer, if he was going to be gone for 17 months, he probably would get the caseworker really might get that email.
And rightfully so. I mean, he's not, there's also the principle that he's supposed to be doing the child support. I mean, why are you gonna let him off the hook? That's what you're supposed to be doing. That's your job as a father.
Right.
And since you're not going to do it on your own, that's what we got the system for, is to make you do it.
But
So
are we that
yes.
emotionally? Are we that emotionally scarred?
No, I don't know that. I don't know that it's emotionally scarred, as in you're not.
Void.
But it's like you are doing your obligation, and he's supposed to do his as well. And it's like, if you're not going to do it on
Right.
your own, well, sister's going to make you do it. That's not being petty. That's not, in my opinion,
No. No.
because you
Yeah. Well,
should.
I wouldn't. Right. Right. Well, yeah. Because you look at it like this. If there was a car accident and two people, you was in the right of way, and somebody had to pay for your car damage. You know what I'm saying? Is that being petty? No. You want your car fixed.
Right.
So same thing. You want the child to get taken care of. So
Right.
no, it's not. To me, my opinion as well. Nah, I don't say you're being petty, but you said you coming after him personally. You don't find too many people. They don't say that in court now. Yeah, I'm coming after his neck.
Yeah.
Well, would it matter in court? No, it wouldn't matter at all.
It wouldn't even matter.
Probably wouldn't even
Right.
matter if
Right.
they say I'm coming after him, because
Right.
it wouldn't even matter, because that didn't matter to me. It did. That happened to me, so it didn't matter. So at the end of the day, I don't think you're being petty, but just it's a lot to this thing, man. So it's a lot of levels to this. And I guess this is what this podcast is about,
Yeah,
trying
it's
to
the
figure out,
relationship.
navigate through these situations.
I think I said
Right.
something like,
Right.
in the beginning, things were sweet, things were great. And then y'all know y'all was in the beds like rabbits at one point in time, and now y'all just can't stand each other. So it's like, how do you go
Right.
from great to want to throw up in your own mouth? Like,
Yeah.
what? And then when you say, so well, how I felt was, so the way you were saying, I said, I wanted to say, are we inept or void of the tools to adequately handle the scenarios the way they're supposed to be handled? And am I to think for 1 minute that other races are more successful at handling this stuff than we are? Or, because we're disproportionately represented in the court system, particularly, and I'm going to say more Black men being broke in the system, not like you said, dead beats, but dead broke. I mean, is it poverty that makes you do stupid ass things?
No, not. I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, there's a whole lot of white folk. There's a whole lot of other ethnical groups that's not paying their child
that's
support.
broke.
They're not getting along either. I mean, it ain't just the black people.
Right.
That's true. That's true.
It
But why is it that
No.
it feels like, and maybe because we don't know, and maybe because there's not nothing to lose. Maybe we lose so much all the time on a daily basis. We feel like there's not much to lose. Versus we have a good job, we don't want to lose. We have a good pension, we're not trying to lose, or we have good standing in the community. We're politicians, we're elected officials. We have boards and commissions. We there's no prestige that we don't want to lose. So is it that, and then like you said, the love for the children, I don't even see where that comes in at, because like you said, those blinders, you so infuriated, I can't promise you that at one point in time in my fury I ever thought about the children.
Right.
I did think, I wonder what George, I was about to say, I don't want to say the kid's name, but I was about to say, I wonder what they would think,
right,
if they knew this was going on.
Right.
And I didn't talk to them about it, but it wasn't like I took their feelings into more consideration. I really probably, it was just about how I felt.
Well, you're in the same category that millions of other people are. You don't, because of your anger and your frustration, and rightfully so, you have a right to be. That's the other issue. Mm-hmm. A lot of times you have a right to be angry. And when the person you don't think about, most of them don't think about how it's going to hurt the kid, even if it's going to hurt the kids, because of your blindness. That's not something that you focus on. You focus on getting back to him, or getting him to do what he's supposed to be doing, that's what he's supposed to be doing, which is the other issue, because you're right on both fronts. He's supposed to be doing this.
That's true.
And then you like, and now you want to be petty. But you've been petty because that's what you're supposed to be doing, man. This is what you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
And I got to force you to do it. I'm going to force you to do it. Now, like I said, if that was 3 years and they got, 4 or 5 more years, oh, hell yeah. You go straight out to the child support court.
You keep talking, I'm going to send his tail right to court. I felt like, oh, yeah, I need to do this right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, let me go right now. Wait, listen. And it was like, exactly. Glenn, get your ass.
Yeah, I mean that's what you're supposed to be doing.
I mean, but check this out, man.
I don't like runaway dads.
Check this out, Raquel. As much as
okay,
right. As much as I've been in the system, right? As much as I've been dealt with in the system, you can call it unjust, just whatever. But I'm sitting on the other side now because this is how I've been from day one. Even when I was caught in the system, not paying back child support, whatever. I mean, I was angry at the mothers of my children. Yeah, I mean, come on. The whole income tax check being taken every year. I mean, federal and state. And plus, whatever, but then still made sure that the children had what they needed outside of the court system. So
see, that's
being
the difference
angry
between a father, I think, and I can say that for you, I've witnessed, you never let that interfere with your children, though.
Well, because because they didn't have anything to do with it, and that's how I looked at it. And plus, I had a father and a mother. I had a father that stayed there, took care of the household, whether rain, sleet, snow. So that was pretty much, I saw him do that, and so I was obligated for one. And it was sometimes that the thought ran through my mind, man, listen, I'm not giving her. You know what? I'm gonna just go ahead and do this time. But that's nah, I can't do that because that's being selfish to me. But then not only that, my children, like you said, the children are getting broken. The relationship that I have with my children, because I stood my ground for them, you know what I mean? Eventually it helped her. I have a better relationship with them now today because now they say, dang, Dad, we saw what you went through. Even my son now, he's 28 years old. He said, Dad, I don't know how you did that. He said, because mommy told me some things on purpose. Whenever he got with me, whenever it was time for him to leave, whatever you got, what you got, start crying to leave. So I went through all of that stuff, but I fought the good fight, you know what I mean? And it cost me what I had to pay if I was with them. Right. You know what I mean? I probably would have been paying more. So I didn't get disgruntled about it. And if anybody's out there listening, I mean, we have an obligation. Just like Glenn said, we have an obligation to pay child support. If you can't figure it out together, once you get into that court, man, they really don't want to hear none of that. Yeah. All they want to hear is how can you pay this money that we say you owe. Right. And if you're trying to do the right thing, that's what you're going to do. And so, I mean,
let me ask you,
you ain't being petty, but
you said something like, I fought the good fight. And I'm going to ask both of this to you guys, because I know you guys believe in God, Christ. How much is it knowing the Father God with knowing how to be? Because most people say, well, I never had a father, so I don't know how to be a father. How much does God play a factor in the father role? That the more you get a closer relationship with God and you have that relationship with the Father, you're better off to be a father. And then could we assume that those that don't know, have a biological father and or relate to a heavenly father, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know that that's not one and the same at all times, but how much does God play a factor in how y'all chose to be fathers?
God played a major factor. I mean, God shared his title with us. God is called Father. We are called fathers.
Right.
So God gave us his title to be a father. And whether you grew up in a household or not without your father, that's no excuse of taking care of your kids. Mm-hmm. That's cool. You can throw that out the window. Right. To say, I never grew up in a household. My dad, he walked out on me, he left me, so I'm going to do the same thing. That don't hold water. No. You can't blame the absence of a father for stepping up to the plate. And and I can tell you scriptures about a father, where God shared, these things happen, where fathers in the Bible stepped up to the plate and blessed their sons and blessed their daughters. And and I don't want to get into that right now, but there are all kind of scriptures that talks about the father role. And because everything was built on the foundation. Fatherhood is the foundation. God created Adam and Eve. He created Adam first. That is the foundation. So when if the foundation is cracked, everything that's you're trying to build on the foundation is going to be cracked. Unless we fix this fatherhood issue, we're not going to fix society, because everything is built on the foundation of father. That's the way God set it up.
I like that. I like
and
that.
women are trying to do a job by themselves, but God never designed them to do. But they're having to do it because fathers are not in place.
Right.
And we use all kind of excuses because I never grew up in a household with my dad, so he left me, blah, 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 blah. And all that's, you're a runaway dad. So stop being a runaway dad. And moms, she share responsibility too.
And I can't blame it because I immediately I want to go with blaming, if it ain't right if you don't blame the white man. And I know that's just that I'm being funny, but I think that's how I used to think back in the day. And I know I have to stop thinking about that, because then that puts us in a victim role versus a victor role.
Right.
And we have the ability to change our own life circumstances by changing our decisions, despite of, because back in the day, whether it was slavery days or after slavery, post-slavery, we had worse conditions back then, and we still were fathers.
Right.
So I can't blame the white man or the system or the the racism, the institution, the oppression.
Right.
While that might be a variable,
right,
it's not it's what do they say? Evidence and results. Or no, evidence and how you respond to it equals your results or outcome, something like that. It's just like you still have to make those decisions.
Outcome.
Right.
Yeah, we still have to make those decisions. Ultimately, at the end of the day, we're responsible.
And sometimes the women don't help.
Hold on, wait, Anthony. I'm gonna come back to you. What you were saying? The women don't help by what?
Women don't help the issue either, because now little Jimmy is growing up, and she's looking at little Jimmy every day.
Tyrone.
Okay, little Tyrone. She's looking at little Tyrone every day. And every time she sees little Tyrone, she sees big Tyrone, because he looks just like his dad. So every day she's reminded of this guy who walked out on her and left her. He's doing good on the other side of town, and she's struggling. So she's bitter and she's angry, and he ain't paying no child support, and she's angry. So she's reminded that she's living this stuff every day. He is out of sight, out of mind. She's got to deal with this every single day, because she's seeing these kids raised without their dad. And now she's angry and she's bitter, and she's pouring all this stuff into this child. And everybody.
That's a real thing. I know a lot of moms who have treated their children like crap because he treated her like crap, and that child is a reminder of him and how he felt. Ooh, we need to get better.com. What was you going to say, Anthony? Because we're almost at time.
Well, I mean, just like you pose a question that the spiritual side of it, Father, God, if you don't take care of your kids, it says you're less than an infidel. That means, you're cut off. You're supposed to be cut off. How are you walking around eating and your kids are not eating? The Bible says you're not supposed to eat if you're not taking care.
They eating. And I'm not saying that everybody got food stamps.
But they're not eating good though. They're suffering. That's just natural food. But I'm talking about spiritual food. Spiritual food. When you know what I'm saying, when you need to get over that hump, when your money can't buy what God, that spiritual thing, can do for you. So I think you're cut off. And until you get right, it's like you got holes in your pocket. Whatever you're trying to do to be successful, it's not going to happen. Yeah. It's not going to happen. You're going to keep hitting that brick wall. So that's the spiritual side. That's what helped me, getting to know God more spiritually. And then, I was convicted. Because there's some things in my mind a lot of times, much stuff I don't went through in the court system. I was like, man, the hell with everybody.
Yeah.
I said, man, they taking my money. They mama getting income tax checks, full income tax checks. I mean, but then I said, man, hold up, man. I got convicted. So that's what happened for me. And
Well,
I'm
thank
glad
God
that
you got
I
convicted.
built a close relationship with God.
Yeah. The spiritual
Huh?
application of fathers not being involved in their kids' lives is sometimes
Right.
because of our absence, our kids cannot walk into their destiny and purpose because part of our responsibility is to
Right.
help them do that. I'll share a quick story. I know we got to go. Remember in the Bible where Saul was sent to Jesse's house, which was David's father, to pick a king?
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
Saul, the
Right.
king, he goes over to Jesse's
Mm-hmm.
house and he goes there. God says, I have a king at Jesse's house. Go pick him.
Yeah.
And when you get there, I will anoint him. So the prophet Samuel goes to Jesse's house and he asks Jesse to bring all his sons. And Jesse brings all of his sons out
Right.
except for one. And every time Samuel says, no, not him, no, not him, no, not him, he finally said, do you have another son? And Jesse finally said, oh, yeah, by the way, I do have one. His name is David. He's out in the fields. So they go bring David into the house. And as soon as the prophet sees him, he pours the oil on David. At that moment, David walked into his destiny because David became king later on. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of sons and daughters are left out in the field, never to get their anointing because the fathers have not anointed them. And they're out struggling, not walking in their destiny, not walking in their purpose because fathers are not. So if Jesse did that messed up, we do it too. We leave our sons and our daughters. And David was a king. Now that day he could have been left in the field the rest of his life. So we need some modern day Samuels, these prophets, to go to these men and say, I know you got a family in New York and you got one in Jersey and you got one in California, but God wants you to take care of all of your kids, not just the one you live with. One of the quotes I said, God wants you to take care of all your kids, those that you live with and those that you deny.
Now, I'm going to tell you right from the jump, that is one big, huge thing. Like if the woman has a family or children with you, and then you leave that house and you go lay up with another woman, and you start taking care of that household, you better make sure that that first household is getting some love and getting enough of it, or else you go in surefire first class. To the child support system. Exactly. One thing women look at like, word. Oh, he gonna live. You see,
he gonna live. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, he got to live over there and take care of that family, and we over here struggling.
Oh no. We go straight to the child support court.
We go child support.
Guess what? Rightfully so.
Rightfully so.
Rightfully so.
And that's one of the do's and don'ts we talk about in the Get Your Hands Out of My Pocket. Like, do not do that. There's just certain things you should not do. So, but you might say, yo, I don't want to be homeless. I can't live on my own. So what would you say to a man who, okay, it was foul, it was a mistake, or it just got foul. I fell in love with somebody else. I want to be with her. I want to take care. And yeah, she's having a new baby by me.
Yeah.
We're going to move in together and we're going to get married. Now, I'm giving you the highest hopes of all, scenarios here. But I left this one here. How do you cut the scorn, cut the burn, what would you do as a man how do you even hurt? I mean, because hurt is hurt. You might not intend to hurt me, but you hurt me.
Yeah. And that's why that's why she's so angry.
I mean,
but what you gonna do?
But listen, I went through that. I went through that same thing. But the deal was, I left the house, but I didn't leave the life of a child. Right. That's the difference right there. When you leave the house and you leave the life, that way, if you leave, now you ain't taking care of nothing. Right. Man, you supposed to get your just due. But man, that's what I had to do.
But see, no.
House,
you had the women.
But I didn't leave the life.
Yeah, but Anthony, let's make that clear.
They didn't care though.
You had women from, like, I call mine, he is like Beelzebub. You have Beelzebub wives at home. Like those, they didn't respect your ability to be a father. and they were so fueled by anger that they couldn't see anything more. Just like he gets fueled by anger, he can't see past that, and that's easy to do. It's easy to do.
Yeah.
So I won't act like I never was there. It's easy to do.
And I have men say all the time, I don't know why she's so mad with me. I was like, really? You don't see why she's mad with you? Come on, guy. You left her for maybe her best friend.
Oh,
got her
don't
pregnant.
do that. Don't do that.
And you can pretend like, oh, I don't know why she's so mad with me. You do know why she's mad with you. If she did to you what you did to her, you're probably on mental health medication now. So don't play this innocent role that you don't know why she's mad with you.
I think we all see, like Glenn sees probably, because he's in the court system, he's going to see, I'm not going to say he sees the worst of the worst, but he sees the ones that really need the work. Anthony, I felt like you was the epitome of you might not have been the best father in the world, but you was a father nonetheless. And you showed a clear example as to when opposition is high, how you and God have to even rise higher to that occasion. I mean, I represent the women that we could get scorned. It's easy to fuel us off if you act nincompoopish, bobo, dumb. It's easy. So I just don't. I don't know.
Well,
I think
let me say this, Raquel.
It's 8 o'clock.
Let me say this. I'm not patting myself on the back, but I'm not taking the low ride neither, because I did what I was supposed to do as a father. You know what I mean? And so, I didn't make no excuses. Yeah, I was pissed off, but I also know that woman was furious. They said a woman is scorned.
Ooh, it was
man.
Evil. Good God!
And I left when I left, and I didn't just get straight with somebody else. It was just like, oh, you left, and that's what it was. But I took the initiative. Thank God. I thank God for God being in my corner and let me know that, listen, you got to do what you got to do in spite of what happens to you. So I just had to go for the ride. But I believe I'm on this side of the fence because I tried to do the right thing. Not doing it all the time. I didn't say I did it 100%.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I didn't do 100%, but I believe by hanging in there, doing the best I could as a father, the courts couldn't break me down. You understand? The courts did not break me down. They cracked my spirit. But at the end of the day, I just said, okay, I'm going to get up, dust off. I'm going to do what I got to do. So I'm saying to the fathers that's because believe it or not, a lot of people say, yo, you should be celebrating. Man, listen, I didn't celebrate it already. I don't have to jump up and down, man. My credit is back good, this, that, and the third. But at the end of the day, man, it was a struggle that I believe I had to go through to show men that it could be done. It could be done. It could be done. And you don't have to be disgruntled. You don't have to be bitter and angry at the women. Because if you angry at the women, then you know what? It's going to spill over.
Remember back in the day, they be like, twist their lips like, like, you're right. You got it, like,
Hey, well, it's the truth. The truth is the truth. This is what it is. This is what it is. So, I mean, hey, I could be mad as hell right now. I could be like, I ain't talking to the mothers of my children and all that. Nah,
well, let me ask you this question. Do you talk to them today and have civil conversations? Y'all not
hell to the no. No, they ain't there. They're not there. They're not there. I can call in right now. I wish birthday, happy birthday, Merry Christmas. I've been doing that for years. Man, I could see them. If I was a fly on the wall, I probably would fall out laughing because they looking at me like, man, you still ain't a piece of da. So right. So at the end of the day, that don't mean nothing to me. I'm doing what. Listen, me and my children have a decent relationship, and I know some of their moms. I've heard them when I call on the phone. Tell your father I said hello. Okay. That's the conversation that they really want to have. But they don't know how to have that conversation with all the hell they done brought. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't forgave them and all that stuff, man. And so I'm clear. I'm clear of that. So it doesn't even matter. My kids is healthy right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And mental health is healthy. They're healthy. They don't really want for too much because both parents are taking care of them. And that's what I feel good about. You know what I mean? That's what I feel good about. So, without all the other hell stuff.
Well, we have come to the end of
Yeah.
our show. It's always just really, really good. Monette, I know you have to come and make some announcements. I think next week we have our women. We're going to just have a couple of women to come and tell us their stories. And is there, and let's see if we can work through some of these I guess the nuances in the relationship. Like I would probably pass out if the father that I have the issues with came on, because sometimes I do believe you could get to a point where there is no redemption. So there's like, okay, and then you gotta be okay with no redemption. There is no redemption and for me with him, because he is solidified, and like there's nothing he can ever do. And I don't hold that
What do you
against him.
mean there's no redemption?
When I say there's no redemption, there's no
What do you mean
redemption.
there's no redemption?
So that's a strong word. And so when I say there's no redemption, meaning
Right.
in my eyes, you will always be who you are. You will never change because you are who you are. And I've accepted you who you are, and I've placed you in your box. So you're not ever redeeming yourself from that box in my eyes. Now I don't judge it. I haven't condemned the box to holy hell, but the box is just, that's just where you choose to be. Anthony laughing because I mean I'm just saying that's just where you are. And so I can't change you. And I would never want to try because there's no changing. Some people will just never change. And I'm okay. I mean, some people just will never change. Y'all looking at
Well,
me
I
like,
mean,
I
but
don't
check
know.
this out. I have to,
Oh,
I
I
have to
mean,
be,
yeah.
I have to be a little biased with that because what if the women that I've dealt with, we went through what we went through, and I wouldn't let them go as far as not redeem, not allow them to have that. Okay, boom, you still my child's mother. You
What
know
does
what I
that
mean?
mean?
So I had to
What does
go
that
there with that.
but what
That
does that
means that at
mean?
one time we loved one. At one time we loved one another. One time we didn't have these quarrels. So I didn't have that mindset. So now that I have that mindset, being a Christian person, I'm gonna just use that, go there with it. Being a Christian person, if we can't forgive, then God can't forgive us. Then
I don't hold any bad feelings towards him. I'm just saying, like, if someone said to me, "Oh, we're going to do a mediation between you and your son's father," I would say, honestly, it wouldn't be required because he can just come to me. There's always open doors. I'm always civil to talk. I'm not cursing him out. We don't need to sit and try to figure this thing out. There's nothing to figure out. Like, you just have to do your part and let's just be civil about it. We're adults. We can have a conversation.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. And maybe I just do despise this man. Still. I got to work on that. I figured that was coming, huh?
Tell the truth about it.
I don't like him.
Just be truthful about it. That's all.
He irks my whole nerves. Ew.
That's
What you say, Glenn?
That's understandable.
I mean, you know what it is? I feel like he's done so much hurt. And I don't hate him. I just dislike him very much. And he is not worthy to have my time as a human being. Like, I don't even see him as you did so much harm to I feel like just being in the same room and trying, and I've tried. I've tried, but sometimes a mindset is just difficult to overcome. It's like, and so what? If he called me today and said, "Okay, let's talk about it," we would just talk. Yeah. I wouldn't go into saying, I might say, that was real foul. You send me a bill. What was that about? Yeah. And then he'll go into his, little frenzy. I'll let him. I don't know. That just really pissed me off. I feel like
one of the quotes I use in the Bible, in my book, is the opposite of love is not hate, but it's indifference. And that's what most couples have. It's
Yeah,
the
we have definitely indifferences
so
for
when you
sure.
go look at that word indifference, you see all the synonyms: the
Mm.
lack of apathy, the lack of caring, the cold-heartedness. All these words are synonyms to
Indifference.
indifference. And that's what
Okay,
it
that's a nice fancy word to put.
Right.
yeah, indifference.
Indifference. Let me write that
The
down.
lacks the opposite of love is not hate, but indifference. A guy named Reese is he made that quote. I'm not sure
I
what it
like
is.
that.
Yeah. So you could Google it, and it's not my quote. I wish it was.
Yeah, it sounds like your work though.
Yeah, but it's yeah,
So the opposite of love is not hate, it's
but
indifference.
indifference. Yes.
But indifference. Okay. All right. Well, like
Raquel, you know what's in your heart. So
yeah, I mean everybody know. I mean, I have a pure heart.
you
I
know
don't
what's
have
in
wish no evil on nobody. But I do know you
I
only gonna
mean,
choose you only gonna work.
right is right.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm only gonna deal with you but for so long before I'm not gonna
Right.
deal with you. Like I can't. I mean, I'm not gonna deal with you. And our kids are about to be grown now. My youngest is now about to be 18. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm like grown now. Um, but I hope that the relationships that the fathers do have with their sons, that's the part that I think carries on. It's now that they're young men, they're gonna be looking towards that role, that father figure that's just not gonna be there because it never was there. Not because I kept it from them, but because they didn't
Right.
care enough to be fathers, or they didn't love enough to be fathers. So we'll have
Find a way. They didn't find a way.
they didn't find a way, but they were fathers to their other children. So that's another thing. Like we're
Yes,
gonna talk
that's
about that because
yes.
I know for a fact my oldest son, his father, he has other children. He is a father to two other children, and he has fathered his own child. But I know he had an issues with me specifically because I didn't have an abortion and I went and had my son, and so my oldest has always it just has been like I think for what 20 years I've never talked to the dad. The dad has never called me to say and check up on his son at all. And so never. Like, how are you? How's my son? How's this? We've never had a conversation really. I mean, maybe once or twice. And I'm like, dude, do, what's that about?
Hurt is real.
Yeah, it is.
Hurt is real.
Hurt is real.
Right.
Mm. So I don't know. I mean, it's a touchy situation because I think when you talk about our children, you talk about us. You can't separate yourself from your children.
Right.
You'll take on those emotions and your feelings. You
Right.
hurt them, you hurt me. I mean, that's just real. Monette, where'd she go? Oh, let me see. So, let's see. Allow. I don't Monette, I don't know what else to do. Oh,
Regards to what?
why is your I need to make you okay? There you go. You can start your video now. Um, so take us out, I guess, with whatever type of what's those things called? House rules. I'm all in my feelings, feeling some kind of way. I feel some kind of way.
Well, guys, it was a great show. Um, the wonderful topic. Guys, subscribe, like the show on YouTube. We're getting closer and closer to 100 likes on YouTube. We want to go live on YouTube as well. So please go like, subscribe on YouTube. Share your stories, your relationship stories. We're going to be talking about relationships for the next couple of weeks. So send an email in the comments. There's an email, there is a telephone number if you want to call in, share your stories, let us know what your relationships have been like, what your experiences have been, good or not so good. We want to hear them. We want to talk to you. Um, I think that is it. You can always like
You
and
can
share.
email podcast at canilive.org.
Yes, excuse me. Thank you, Raquel. Um, there's a telephone number as well, but yes, podcast@canilive.org. Um, email us at any time. We'd love to hear from you. Um, and let's work on those relationship, guys. Let's make sure that we are motivated, that we always have our children in mind first. Let that be our motivation for getting our relationships together, making the best decisions for them, and let's keep working it out.
So next week we'll have females coming in telling their story, and it's not to be even like, we don't need to hear why you feel what you feel. I think at this point I probably have said all of that, but maybe you guys share, is there, what would you like to see happening with your current relationships? Were you spiteful? I want those kind of women to come and say, yeah, I was real petty, I was spiteful, I used the system against him. And did it impact him in a way that you feel bad about, or is it impact him in a way that you are happy? Like, I want those real stories, the real things that impact our lives like that every single day. And so then we'll talk to the men afterwards to see, what their side is. And, this is a long story, but guess what? We can't just talk about, this is a heavy topic. This is not
Right.
this ain't, whether or not the Real Housewives of Atlanta or whatever got, this is real life. This is our everyday life for a lot of us, not a small part of us, but a lot of us.
Yep.
And so if we do not get this handled in some regard, some way, we're just not gonna, like Glenn said, if we don't deal with the foundation, we're never gonna heal this nation.
Right.
I like that. What's that noise? It sounds like an aircraft or alien ship landing. All right, you guys. So thank you for tuning in to the Can I Live podcast show. We'll see you guys next week. Same time, same place. Peace.
Peace. All right.
Bye.
Right.
So you
Right.
guys.